Bicep time. You may notice that the gym's not quite as crowded as it normally is. This gym we train at here, my buddy put together back in 1980. It's a blue-collar gym. It's a family-oriented gym. So that means right now families are getting their kids ready for school. That puts us in a place all by ourselves. So since it's all by ourselves, who knows what's going to happen this morning? We may get a little louder than normal. We're going to train biceps this morning. Understand biceps. Bi means two. Biceps do two things. They function two ways. They rotate the wrists and they curl the arm up. Also remember this, the biceps, when I first started training, was the focal point for most young kids, right? I mean, of course, you looked at the eyes of a person, and then you looked at the traps and say, okay, they're athletic. But when you saw those biceps, when you saw large biceps, you saw power. And that's what we're going to get into today. We're going to get into working those biceps. You ready? Let's go do it. Let's go do the work. Every day is a presence. As long as you got a heartbeat, you got a destiny. As long as you got a heartbeat, you got a destiny, Rory. Thank you, Lord, for this day. Give me the strength to overcome whatever comes my way. Pretty awesome. Right now, I'm hearing a song from Michael Jackson, The Way You Make Me Feel. Well, guess what? The way my biceps make me feel right now, I'm alive. You hear that? Yeah. I want you to take a quick look from the bottom of the rack, Mr. Cameraman, Mr. Eric, and then I want you to slide all the way up to the top, all the way to the top of the rack. These dumbbells start off with about 2 pounds, and if you can watch the camera move on down the rack, you'll see the dumbbells end up at over 205 pounds. Consider that your neighborhood, Mr. Rogers. What we've got going on here is when you're a new kid on the block, the first thing you do is you acquaint yourself with the neighborhood and the neighborhood kids. These are all my friends now, but at one time I had to prove myself. And how do you prove yourself in the neighborhood? Well, you take on the first young guy that comes at you. And if you get his respect, guess what? Then his bigger brother comes along. And if you take care of him, you get his respect. Well, you just saw my neighborhood, and I got respect from all these characters here. Then again, I've been training for quite a long time. What I'm getting at, it takes a while. Got to know your place in the gym. Don't get overexcited. You get respect by giving respect. That's just the universe. Now we're getting serious. Holster position, rotate the wrists, lean into it, flex. Holster position, lean into it, rotate the wrist, flex. Rotate the wrist. What the biceps do, they do a double movement. They rotate the wrists and curl into your body. If you feel what I felt, I'll continue to get a pump. The blood's flowing. Let me tell you about number 45, what it means, why it means so much to me, why it's so important. These 45-pound dumbbells, I was about 13 years old, and my dad had a little bit of gym equipment in the garage, and he had a 45-pound dumbbell. And I knew I couldn't take none of the weight off of it, because if he saw that any of the weight was taken off, I'd get punished for it. So I took that dumbbell and I rolled it underneath the bed of mine. And every night, I'd tell my dad I'm doing homework. I go into the bedroom, and he thought I was obviously getting pretty well educated, because every night I was in that bedroom from 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock at night. And actually, instead of doing my homework, I was trying to curl that dumbbell. Let me tell you, for weeks on end, I couldn't get that thing to move. But eventually, because I continued and continued, I was able to curl that 45-pound dumbbell. And the evening I did that dumbbell, my dad just happened to open the door. And when I curled that thing, I gave the high sign to the world. My dad said, "Did you just flip me off?" I said, "No, Pops, I just did that 45-pound dumbbell. He says, great, did you do your homework? Well, that was part of my homework, and I'm still doing my homework today. All right, 13, 14 years old, I was curling a 45-pound dumbbell. That was my goal. And now in my mid-60s, I'm curling a 45-pound dumbbell. Have I gotten stronger? No. I've actually gotten immensely stronger. I just learned how to unite with the 45-pound dumbbell. I know how to use that muscle. I know how to isolate the muscle. I know how to work that weight. Don't let the weight work you. You work the weight. Again, let's not get too scientific. The biceps, like any other body part, does specific things. You might like an angle a little bit better than the other angle. The point is, if the angle is working for you that day and you're feeling everything that obviously you're trying to obtain, then stay with it. Enjoy the ride. But then there's a negative movement, nice and slow. Bring it up. Negative movement, nice and slow. Bring it up. Negative movement, nice and slow. Kick it. Remember, it's more in the negative now. Hold it, slow. How slow can you go? Good. Beautiful. Little help, Carlos. Little help. Shake it, baby. Shake it. One more. Good. Let me tell you where I went. 1979, first contest I ever competed in. I was going to do the senior LA. I was going to do the novice LA. I ended up in the senior LA. I was lucky enough to get a knock on the door a few days before the contest. It was 8 o'clock at night. I opened up our apartment door, and who was standing there with his wife? Robbie Robinson. Robbie didn't know me, but a dear friend of ours said there's a young man in Whittier that has a little bit of doubt in his head. Robbie, would you come and go see him? Robbie took his time and brought his time to me. He was getting ready for the Night of Champions, and he drove with our friend Joe Valdez all the way from Santa Monica, all the way to Whittier, not knowing who he was going to meet. I not knowing who I was going to meet. And when we met, I was in total awe. And when he said, let me see what you look like, Rory. So I stripped down to my strip, and he said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. That's all I needed, to hear from a great champion. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Well, there was no novice LA. I had to enter the senior LA. And back then, you didn't get pro cards handed out on weekends. It was annual contests. There were maybe 2 or 3. So these guys in senior LA, they were getting ready for the Cal, which was getting ready for the America. And I know that, you know what, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Let me get on stage. And I walked on stage, and I saw some of the biggest men in my life, and 2 of them were standing right next to me. And when we all did our double bicep, when they did theirs, I thought there was an eclipse, until I realized we were inside of an auditorium. They just blocked the lighting from my eyes. So I turned around, and I threw my arm up, and they applauded. Let me tell you how big those men were, and how big those men still are. That was Craig Munson. Craig's known for big old arms. The other one was Rufus Hunt. He's known for big old arms. But you know what, that day, they said, let us step aside, because young man, you're on your way. Most guys call it hammer curl. First of all, back in the 60s, 70s, we just called it a Zotman curl. So hammer curl, Zotman curl, thumb up curl, they're all the same. But let's give Mr. Zotman the credit. He's the one who put it together. He put the Zotman in the hammer. We'll go up. Now I'm going to add a little Rory to it, all right? This is a Zotman curl, a hammer curl, a thumb up curl. And there's the Rory. Boom. Come on down. Up. Rotate the wrist. Come on down. Come on down. Up. Turn the wrist. Come on down. Up. Turn. Down. Up. Turn. Down. I'm not one of those individuals that say you do it my way and my way is the only way and that's the only way that works. No, not at all. I'm still learning at this moment as I'm doing the set. I'm feeling for the little changes because every day our body changes. So I'll put you on the right track. You choose the lane that's best for you. First thing we do, spread your lats. By spreading your lats, you're going to flex your triceps against them. Now everything's locked and loaded. All you're going to work now is the brachialis muscle along with the rest of the bicep. You're going to angle in towards your heart. Hold, release slowly. Flex the tricep, hold, lats out, reel it in towards your heart, angled, release slowly. All right, let's all do this together. I'm flexing, I'm pulling against it. Total isolation, total concentration. And then you can just see your biceps grow and grow and grow and grow. Yeah. Stretch. You have a bicipitous tendon that sits underneath your front delt. You want to stretch it as far out as possible. From that position right here, the leverage factor is going to be against your bicep. The weight's going to be a lot heavier from this position. And then you just hold against the string. And then you flex. And then you flex. And then you grow. And then you grow. Oh. Yeah. Whoa. Again, like with every workout. Did you see it? Let's cut to the chase. You didn't see it. Did you hear it? Come on, let's get serious. You didn't hear it. The reason why, because I was in my spiritual moment. And I want to share that spiritual moment with you. It's about my daughter Sasha and I, her 8th grade year graduation. School's just starting for the new fall season. But this is about a graduation. I said, Sasha, take my left hand. She said, Daddy, everybody's looking. This is embarrassing. I go, that's all right, Sasha. You grab my left hand. Let's take a step forward. We took a step forward. I said, Sasha. She said, Daddy, I'm really embarrassed. I said, that's all right. Let's take another step forward. We took another step forward. I said, Sasha, let go of my hand. She said, all right, Dad. I said, now take a step on your own. She said, Dad, take a step on your own. She took a step away from me. I said, Sasha, turn around. Look at me. See where I'm standing? This is where your mother and I held your hand all the way up to this point. That first step you just took there on your own, you're responsible for. And you're responsible for every step you take from this moment on in life. That's right. God tells us, you're responsible. I've given you a free will. You determine your steps, or give yourself to me, and I will guide your steps. Your choice. Your choice. God guides my steps. May May God guide your steps. Until we meet again, do the work.